You fat bastard. Look at all that green grass in you. Huh? What are you doing? You gonna hear some Sasquatch stories, buddy? Hey? It's funny, I was talking to Scott the other day, and he's trying to talk me into putting a camera with a gimbal on it on my backpack when I go in the woods, so I can tape these guys following around or spying on me. But I'm on the fence. You know, two of my best hunting spots ever are basically been decimated of game. There's nothing left there, and it's deadly quiet. And top it off, found a footprint in one of them. It was a couple weeks ago. And then remember that creepy video I got on my trail camera last fall? That's in my other good spot. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're intentionally doing it, annihilating my two spots intentionally in spite of me or something. I don't know, because I don't have the best of language when I go hunting. When I climb up the mountain in the dark, I'm basically telling them to F off and leave me alone. I don't want nothing to do with you, and I'm not overly friendly with them. And a lot of you people might say, "Oh, be kind to them. They're peaceful. They just want this. They just want that." I don't care. I don't need to make friends with the big fuzzy stuffy. And it's like grizzly bears, okay? When I'm hiking an hour and a half in the dark by myself in big timber in these mountains right here, I know the grizzly bears are there. I don't need a grizzly bear following me in the dark, screaming at me. Okay? I just don't need that. I'll go in the woods with the grizzly bear, no problem. But we can maintain distance from each other and keep it at that. And it's the same with these damn beings, right? I'll admit it flat out. Every single time I leave my truck solo to go into the woods, I'm saying it over my head, not today. Just leave me alone. I don't need this today. I just want to go hunting. So, I don't know. I'm on the fence. I mean, I do know where there's a few of these things right now, right close to the house. And I know they're there just because of when I was really looking into it a few years ago, mapping out where all the sightings were and what time of year, and then talking to the First Nations people, and they just flat out told me where they were this time of year. It's just fact. And do I have an urge to go hiking through the forest there intentionally with a camera on me? Not really. Because I just don't. I mean, let's face it, still today, I have yet to come across one person that said, "Hey, I saw a 9-foot tall Sasquatch, and I've never been so happy in my life." Right? On average, nothing good comes from this. Maybe some of you guys could post up what good comes from pursuing these beings intentionally. I don't even know if I'm curious about that myself, but you know, even the First Nations communities, you know, when the Sasquatch are around, they watch the women and the kids. It's just a fact. They keep the women and the kids under watch and close to home when the Sasquatch are around. Actually, you know what? On that topic, if any of you know, gosh, I wish I could remember where I read it. Is Reddit or somebody messaged to me that some of the northern native communities actually said flat out to the RCMP investigators that they wished the Star people and the Sasquatch would stop stealing their women. And that was in relation to the Highway of Tears. And there is dozens and dozens of native women who gone missing, and they haven't solved shit. And if any of you are familiar with that statement that I just said a second ago, if you know anyone who has any information on it, or if you are one of those First Nation communities, and if that is a possibility that may be going on and it's in relation to these beings, I'd appreciate it if you email me and we could bring some light on that subject and maybe make a difference. You never know. All right, I got time for one more here before I skedaddle. And this is going to be pretty interesting. There's no shortage. They're coming in every single day from all over the world nonstop. You know, it's funny with the background sound of my luck. Like when you do make videos and actually do it for a living, we're creating content for our hunting apps and shit. I'm oversensitive to background sound, like planes. Drives me nuts. Helicopters drive me freaking crazy. And then I finally get to a place where there's none of the above and no river, and I got a farmer pounding fence posts, and he just started as I hit record on the camera. Of course. Whatever. It is what it is. Here we go. Listen to this one. I was raised on a cattle ranch in the Sierra Nevada foothills in Colma, where gold was discovered in 1849. My father was a World War II vet who fought in the Burma jungles, and his cattle partner was like a grandfather to me who fought hand-to-hand in the trenches in France in World War I. Before I could go hunting and fishing with them, I had to learn to track and backtrack, also swim with all my clothes and boots on. They had 17 square miles of lease mountain pasture up in Rock Bound that went to Meeks Bay at Lake Tahoe, where they ran cattle each summer in the 1930s to 1960s. They were robust men. My first sighting was in 1968. We were hiking into Star Lake, which overlooks Tahoe, on Memorial Day weekend. There's a lot of snow patches on the ground still. We came across bear prints in the snow. Who in the right mind would be up here in their bare feet, my dad said. It must be hippies hiding out from the Vietnam War. Well, he is one big son of a bitch. One set was 60 inches, the other 8. We could not match their strides. Once at the lake, I wanted to fish with my dad, but he said I should stay in this area to fish for my feet were wet, and there was glaciers running down into the lake, and it was too dangerous, so I fished on the sunny side, and they went around the lake. Before long, I was bored and started skipping rocks and rolling big rocks down the canyon to see if any deer had run out. I looked back and seen my pole bobbing, and I had to run for it. That's when I seen 2 hippies walking on the other side as they got to the glacier. I yelled out to my dad, said, "Don't go there," and the big one picked up the little one and went across it on a 45-degree angle uphill. Before long, my dad was back, mad, and asked if I'd cross the slide, and was rolling boulders down the lake. I told him the big and little hippies must have rolled rocks. At first he thought I was lying, so we walked over and I showed him the tracks where they crossed the glacier. Them crazy sons of bitches. Then we seen them way up the mountain, and we got our 10 by 50 binoculars out and watched them go straight up. Dad said they were going fast for being barefoot. I told him they were wearing fur coats and pants, like Daniel Boone would make. Fred walked up and said they're hermits that would hide out in the mountains and would always steal young calves. Well, that's different. It's kind of hard, sometimes I just read these emails and I don't check the grammar, and with the improper grammar, it makes me hesitate, and I got to do a lot of cutting and chopping later on. And I guess if I get a little more organized, I'd pre-read them right, but time's always limited. My next sighting was in 1987 at the Crystal Basin area, El Dorado County, California. My wife, my son, and I were at Ice House, lake fishing on the road, out 100 feet in front of us. A young man walked out and crossed the road. When he seen us, he dropped on all fours and looked straight at us. I said, "Look, it's a monkey boy." I floored it and was out of the Jeep running after him. I got to the edge of the road where he went into the brush in no time. The Jeep was still rolling, and my wife was screaming at me to get back in. I looked back at her with my arms in the air like, "Where'd it go?" When I turned back looking for him, puzzled, that's when I saw him going over the top of the ridge 250 yards away. My mouth dropped open with disbelief. Then I smelled something dead and rotten. We all did. He wasn't eating on a dead deer carcass. My wife said, so I looked in the brush and could not find anything dead. We sat there on the road, talking about what we had seen for 15 minutes. Monkey Boy's hair was sparse, and you could see more skin than hair. And you could tell he was wild in his eyes. We stopped at the bar restaurant a mile away. They are friends of mine, and we were going to tell them what we had just experienced. Once we sat down, neither said a word, so they asked what was wrong. I just shook my head because I didn't want to be laughed at. In fact, we never spoke of it again. Now she is my ex-wife. Now I want to ask her what she remembers of that day. It's a day I'll never forget, and I can close my eyes, and it's like yesterday. John. P.S. I had 3 more sightings after that, and my 6th sense kicked in. I'll send them soon. Thanks, Steve. Keep on keeping on and take no shit from those lying bastards. Well. Crazy. The Sierra Nevadas, California. California sure has a pile of sightings here, doesn't it? Man, there's so many bears right here, especially behind the camera. It's ridiculous. If you just sit right here in this pocket, Didn't say a word. You see a bear down that fence line. I don't know. I'll bet there'll be a different bear there every half hour. But anyway, there's another one. I hope it's funny, it's challenging. I'm gonna have to start slowing up and pre-reading these emails properly and putting the proper grammar in there, because it sure is difficult to read them smoothly right out of the blue without proofreading them, and the grammar can screw you up and stump you up and not make you. It prohibits you from speaking and delivering smoothly, right? Maybe I'll do that next time. But anyway, that is all she wrote for now. So I hope if this gets out on the weekend, you're having a great weekend. And if not, I hope maybe this will come up Monday or Tuesday, I don't know. And hopefully you had a good weekend.